And gentlemen, well, today, as we said, we are going to focus on the latest discoveries in Saqqara district. And to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phono with our dear guest, Mrs. Yumna Salama, tour guide and Egyptologist. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mrs. Salama, I really had the pleasure to have this phono with you. Now, Egypt have discovered or announced the discovery 2 days ago of two largest mummification workshops in the Saqqara district, in addition to another 2 tombs and a number of artifacts in the Saqqara district, which adds to the series of discoveries in the Saqqara. So tell us about the details of this discovery.
First of all, I would like to shed light on the fact that Saqqara has lots of secrets still hidden under the sand. And that's not actually a surprise that we have been finding in the past 6 years, actually, lots of important discoveries in Saqqara, which is considered actually one of the oldest and one of the largest and the longest in use necropolises or cemeteries all over Egypt. The 2 embalming workshops that we found lately, and the 2 tombs that are actually dating back to the Old and the New Kingdom. And also Saqqara, the workshops are for humans that we found had a rectangular shape and designed to be divided into several rooms, equipped with stony beds where the deceased and the mummy will lie down for mummification. Each bed was about 2 meters long, actually, and they were covered with plaster. And the mummification beds in Egypt actually were found often in such workshops, and we have some examples also in the museum, in the Egyptian museum, giving us an idea how they looked like, which is actually a very important process, the mummification. And we do have the amazing ceremonial beds that could be also used for mummification of King Tut.
Yes,
We also found animals workshop.
Yes.
The Saqqara is a burial place not just for humans, also for animals. We found sacred mummified animals buried in the sand, like falcons and cats and mummified lion. Before that, not this year, but this year the animals embalming workshop is also taking the shape rectangular, and it was made out of mud in stony floor, and it consisted of some rooms. Inside those rooms, we found a collection of clay pots, pottery pots, and burials for animals and bronze tools that were used in the mummification process. As we know, the Egyptians used tools made out of bronze and copper. So we found bronze tools and 5 beds made of stone, different than those found in the human embalming workshop. Actually, it's an amazing discovery. I mean, I cannot stop talking. I can talk for hours about it.
Yes, we too, of course, we're so proud about this discovery. What makes this discovery very unique in the series of discoveries in Saqqara, Mrs. Salama? Would you think that the most special about this discovery is it revealed some details concerning the mummification, which was a secret that the whole world and the Egyptians were trying to discover long ago?
Well, actually, from a scientific point of view and
Yes.
archaeological point of view, every discovery we find
Is very important.
is very important.
Yes.
And every discovery completes the general picture. We are working here like working on a big puzzle.
Yes.
And there are pieces missing in this puzzle, so every discovery is adding to this picture, is adding to our great puzzle, and we're trying, and we will keep trying, because I believe that we will never discover all the treasures of Egypt. This country is lying on treasures, it's
Yes.
built upon treasures. So we are just trying to make the picture clearer, and that's the importance of such a discovery, because it helps us complete the picture. In Saqqara especially, because again, there are still many secrets hidden in Saqqara, so we're trying to discover the most we can. And this discovery, of course, on a touristic perspective,
Yes.
it will keep the spotlight on Saqqara, Saqqara, Saqqara. I think people who used to speak only about Giza and Giza pyramids,
Yes.
now every tourist will be anxious to go and see Saqqara, which is every now and then on TV and discoveries in Saqqara. So Saqqara will be getting more visitors. It's quite a distance further out of Giza Governorate, so it will attract more visitors. It will bring more tourists to this area, and that's also very important.
Yes, and it would also, as you've just mentioned, Mrs. Salama, that it would still attract the eyes of the tourists and the archaeologists in Egypt and all over the world to this district in Saqqara. Okay, the archaeological mission was all Egyptians. Give us an idea about this, please.
Well, this is very important. This archaeological mission, led by Dr. Mustafa Waziri, Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities.
Yes.
Actually, it is also important. We have to shed light on the fact that we have many foreign expeditions working in Egypt. Because this amount of treasures and antiquities, we cannot take all the efforts on our shoulders. And we have to contribute other countries as well, because this is a mankind heritage. But in the fact that we are so proud that this is 100% Egyptian expedition,
Yes.
which shows the world that the Egyptians are also taking the lead in unearthing and digging for their own monuments.
Yes.
And they are all engaged in this. What an honor, what a credit. And I used to say the ancient Egyptians, I'm talking about the ancient Egyptians, 1,000 years BC, were the first Egyptologists in the world. When we have down at the Sphinx of Giza, between the feet, a dream stela telling us the story of a king who came 1,500 years later and cleaned the sand of the Sphinx and restored the Sphinx. And we have King Ramses who restored the wall around the middle pyramid in Giza. Those are the ancient Egyptians who already took care of their own monuments, because our civilization is very long. We have 3,000 years of a civilization, and when we talk about the Giza pyramids, and for example the time of King Tutankhamun, that's 1,500 years different. So the kings who came in the New Kingdom time, they actually looked upon the monuments of the Old Kingdom as monuments already that needed to be restored and taken care of. So it is the Egyptians who were originally the first Egyptologists in the world. It was not the Europeans, it was not anybody else except us. And here we are emphasizing this idea again and still continuing to preserve and protect our monuments and find more.
Yes, Mrs. Salama, there was a series of discoveries in the Saqqara district years ago that started 5 or 6 years ago. So what were the most important also previous discoveries in this area, with the discovery of several coffins and tunnels that there were many secrets and many monuments that were discovered in this area. Could you give us an idea about this, please?
Yes, in the past years we found many burial shafts that contained sealed coffins, and we actually talked about them, about those sealed coffins. They gave us an idea about the dice. Sealed coffins, it means the mummies are inside. So to have the mummy, it's actually like finding a treasure to talk about the dice, the diseases, whatever daily life system they had, because you can analyze the DNA of those mummies and find a lot of information. We found this mummy for mummified lions, baby lions. We found the tombs also. Some tombs were reopened after the restoration work. So actually, the last 5 years were actually blessed seasons for discoveries all over Egypt, but in particular Saqqara.
Yes, what do we expect in the coming days or the near future in this area also?
Well, the expectations are never actually picturing what we will. I mean, it's far beyond our expectations. As I said in the beginning, Saqqara, there are still hidden treasures under the sand. We can expect more discoveries. We can expect big things. We can expect also small pieces that contribute in the big picture of the puzzle we are trying to complete. Everything is an added value to our scientific research and work. We can expect also some quiet time. I actually cannot tell you what to expect because every time we try to expect something, we find something beyond our expectations. So let's
Yes.
keep it that way. We are expecting beyond the expectations, whatever it will be.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information. I really had the pleasure to have this phone with you, Mrs. Yumna Salama, Egyptologist and tour guide. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to watch the segment of the fashion and style. Well, with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program, Women's World. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.